Okay. You want me to sit forward, back?
Okay, say and spell your name.
My name is Eden, E-D-E-N. My last name is Sherman, S-H-E-R-M-A-N.
Where did you spend the hurricane? At what part of the island?
Right off of Casa Ibel on Sable Sands Road.
Okay. What did you experience during Ian?
I've never seen anything like it in my life. It was wild. I was, the day before the storm, I was in my house kind of watching the weather get worse, and my neighbors said, come stay with us. We have impact windows, you don't. Come stay with us. And I was like, ah. And then sort of Wednesday morning, I was like, maybe. So mid-morning, I decided that I was going to go across, but that meant bringing my 3 dogs. So one dog at a time, cross, through the water that was rising, next dog across, got over there pretty much just in time. I don't think I would have made it across the street if I had waited any longer. So I sheltered with my neighbors across the way, my 3 dogs, me, their 3 cats, and the 2 of them. So it was like Noah's Ark in there, quite literally.
So, tell me some more.
Because there's a waterway right behind my house, we were able to see the surge happen, and boy, did it happen fast. Once I got the dogs over, I had kind of said, I'm just going to lay down for a minute just to regroup, and all of a sudden I hear, oh God, and I go out, and my neighbor's bailing water out of her basement as if it's going to matter, right? So we don't know at the time, and it's coming up and up and up, and we're up to our knees, and so I'm trying to help her, and now we're up to our thighs, like, we need to get out of here. And so we came up her stairs, her doors are glass. We saw the water from behind my house go and just come across the street, and then it just went. And it came up and up and up, and I sat in her house, on her top steps inside her house, looking out the glass doors at my own house, and just watched it go underwater, watched my front door go underwater, come up and up and up and up. And I went, oh. The cars were in there, all the stuff we had stored from when we moved over from Miami was in there, and I just watched it and went, oh. Nothing you can do, right? And we just were watching the water come up her front steps, because it came in and up and up and up, and we're counting how many steps do we have left before it gets to the kitchen? How many steps do we have left before we need to think about getting on the kitchen counter with the dogs and the cats? So it was wild. I think the wildest part was just watching the water come so fast. It went from okay to, oh my God, this is really scary, really fast. And it just stayed there. The storm just stayed over us. We watched it until the connectivity, when the power went out, the Weather Channel, the internet, graphics of the storm, and it just stayed there, spinning and spinning right over us. It's like, would you move? Please go away. How long can you stay still? And it just wouldn't go. It just wouldn't go, and we just watched the water keep coming up and up and up. About 2:30, it was up, and we're like, it's gotta break. And then I think high tide that day was at about 3, and all of a sudden it was like magical. It leveled and then started going back. And every time we got a step back, we were like, yes, one more stair. So it was one of the wildest experiences of my life, I have to say. Unbelievable.
When did you start looking for other people after the storm?
Next morning, immediately, got up, looked across to see if I could get to my house. I told my neighbor, I'm going to try and get across and see what I can do. I'm going to leave the dogs here for a minute, and I'm going to try and get across. I'll cross through the muck and the mud. And as I'm doing that, I'm thinking, wonder where all those alligators that used to live behind my house went. Like, oh no, survived the hurricane to get eaten by an alligator. Got inside, the water and the mud were, you could see the water had filled the whole front room. The water line was up to the ceiling, up to my ankle beyond in muck. Started trying to clean it, realized that's ridiculous. Went back, brought the dogs over one at a time through the muck, carried them each through the muck across back to the house, put them upstairs in a safe place, because luckily the water didn't get up, it just took out the lower level. And then my neighbor and I got our cycles and started trying to cycle through the muck and the water to see what happened to everybody. So we're up on Periwinkle Way on our cycles, trying to cycle through like this much water. Yeah. Cycling down Periwinkle going, oop, gotta stop and lift our bikes over that tree. And we were just looking around. It was a mixture of amazement and shock and heartbreak. So, but we saw, we found police officers out. Actually, the first thing we did when we were out in the street in the morning, we saw the helicopters flying over by, and we were going like, trying to flag them down. Like, hey, we're still here. But we were talking to some of the police officers and some of the other folks who were starting to slowly appear, and that's when we found out the causeway had gone out. That's when, somebody had said, hey, if you're really lucky, if you go over to the beginning of the causeway, you can get some connectivity on your phone. So, and the fire station's open to charge your phone. So over to the fire station, that kind of back and forth between the causeway and the fire station on cycles for a couple of days, charging the phone, trying to reach people, charging the phone, trying to reach people. I gotta say, the fire station, the firefighters on island were incredible. They gave us snacks, they were kind, they gave us water, they were incredible. So.
They did an excellent job.
Yeah, didn't they? They did a great job. I'm so thankful for them.
Did you have thousands of messages on your phone too?
Well, I was alone. My partner at the time was overseas on a business trip. And yeah, I did. I had lots of people trying to reach me. So, the first thing I did was call my partner, and then I called my mom, and everybody was just like, oh my God. But it took a couple days. It took a little while to get through. It wasn't until about the second day that I really got through to people. And then it was a matter of deciding, am I leaving? Right? Am I going to evacuate?
How did you manage your supplies?
I had enough. It was just me. I had enough for the dogs. They were fine. I wasn't really worried about supplies. I had enough canned food. I had enough water for a while. The hardest part was actually getting water to do things like flush the toilets and those kind of things. So we just used who was me by myself, I used a bucket and the water out in the street and brought that in, and it's amazing what you can do when you have to.
Yeah. What were your pre-Ian expectations?
Well, I'm a Northeast girl. I grew up in New Jersey. Came down to Florida about 8 years ago now. Irma was my first hurricane. And we were in Miami at the time, and that was fine. I mean, we went to someplace to stay. It was silly. We didn't need to. It was fine. We took all the precautions. The hurricane came, did some damage, and blew away. So that's what I was expecting. It's coming through. You wait, then it happens, and it moves on. This one was completely different. It just sat there and churned on top of us for, how many hours? 5, 6, 7, 8. It felt like endless. It had to move. So this was very different, but I was expecting an experience like Irma. So I was like, psh, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And everyone I talked to was like, your street doesn't flood. It's fine. It'll be fine, So I was like, we'll be fine. It'll be easier staying put with the 3 dogs than trying to drive them across the state to Miami or wherever. So I certainly wasn't expecting this. Nobody was.
Any words of wisdom?
I've been going over in my head, would I evacuate? Would I do it differently? And I had actually packed my car to evacuate because my partner was like, get out of there. I was like, with the dogs. But I packed the car thinking I might make an 11th hour decision to go, which I didn't, which was a mistake because then I lost the car and everything that I packed in it. But I don't know. Maybe I would say when the city on a barrier island says get out, maybe you should. But at the same time, being here was really, really an incredible experience. Scary, heartbreaking. Would I do it differently? Maybe, but I don't know. I feel like somehow it's connected me to the island even more. I haven't lived here that long. We actually moved here in May of 2020. So I feel like this sort of bonded me to the island. I am an islander now. I'm a Sanibel resident now. I've earned my stripes.
That's true. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken. I'm sure there are many other things I could tell you, but...
Did you stay?
Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go. Okay, this way.